It is overtime here again at Old Favorite Friday discussing incredible classic beers. And as you can imagine, for a brewery called Beerlovers Brewing, we love Belgian style ales. We still make a lot of Belgian style ales. We make more and more American styles as well. We've kind of changed and augmented our lineup over the years, over the 10 years we've been in business. But our heart really still is with great traditional Belgian brewing. And with that in mind, we are doing this week for Old Favorite Friday featuring, showing some love to St. Bernardus Tripel. So St. Bernardus is one of the classic Trappist Abbey ales, or Abbey breweries, I should say, that make a wide range of beers, but the famous Trappist beers are your single, double, triple, and quadruple. And I believe I've done the Patter 8 on Old Favorite Friday before. I've certainly done St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, but we haven't really gone through kind of their whole lineup. And this is one of those breweries where absolutely everything they do deserves to be featured on Old Favorite Friday. So we're going to talk today about their triple. There's so many great Belgian triples out there, and it's a style of beer that is probably the most accessible when it comes to the Trappist styles for most American consumers. Triples are the style of beer that you will see an American brewery making a Belgian style. It's usually a triple or a quadruple, and it kind of tends to be triple more often than not because the lighter colored beers are more accessible. A lot of people are kind of afraid of darker beers and think they're going to be too heavy, whereas you can give them an 8, 9, 10% triple, a blonde beer, and they can enjoy it and feel like it's light and refreshing, even though, you know, a well-balanced quadruple can also be quite refreshing and is not necessarily going to be too heavy. But let's talk about triples here, and specifically this triple. In the Belgian brewing tradition, the triple was always the hoppiest of the four styles of Trappist beer, and not hoppy in the sense that we look at IPAs here in the United States, but hoppy as far as a little bit more bitter, have a little more of that floral or herbal hop presence as far as hop flavor that goes in there. And this is a great example of that. There's nice bitterness in the back end here. It's very floral, very herbaceous on the hop profile and the bitterness here. And what that does is it stops the beer from being cloying. Too many American breweries, and even, you know, some European breweries, when they make triples, they leave them a little bit too sweet, and they can kind of give triples, and I think Belgian beer in general, a bad name. It's the entire idea that, you know, the guy who taught me how to homebrew 15, almost 20 years ago, I guess now, he could not stand Belgian beer because he said they all taste the same. And well, I respect that because the phenols and the esters from Belgian yeast can be a little bit monotonous in the hands of lesser brewers. In the hands of great brewers, to understand how to manipulate those flavors, how to do different fermentation temperatures, and kind of pair that with the malt and the hop profiles, you can get complex, interesting beers, and you can get to the point where no two triples really actually taste all that much alike, even though they might have some like low-lying, like through lines that go through the beer. So you do get a little bit of banana and clove. Those are two flavors that a lot of people talk about when you're talking about Belgian beers and triples in particular. They're there, but they're not dominating the flavor profile. We also don't have that cloying sweetness, once again, balanced out by the bitterness. We've got floral, herbaceous flavors. We've got fruit flavors that are coming forward that aren't banana, that are things like stone fruit and pear, maybe a little bit of green apple. So you try this beer, and if you were to try this next to a Tripel Karmeliet, which is not a Trappist beer per se, but it is a triple because they're not a Trappist brewery. But you try it next to, you know, West Vledren or one of the other great Trappist breweries, they're not going to taste the same. They're going to have different flavor profiles, and they're trying to accomplish different things as that beer because of whoever the brewer is that makes that recipe. It's something that we were very conscious of when we made our triple. Our triple has a little more of those caramel, malty, honey flavors that come forward. Hopefully still not sweet, but that definitely leans more in that direction, definitely leans on the stone fruit aspects of that beer, and probably has a little bit less bitterness than a beer like this. Every brewer can make their own choices. For people that may be watching this and might have had a triple in the past and they did not love it because they thought it was too sweet, or because they said it just tasted like bubble gum or a banana or a clove, this is a great option. And really, it's a really great option to go with any of the classic Trappist triples, because that will dispel that notion very quickly for you. If you allow this beer to warm up a little bit and you allow the kind of full range of flavor to be kind of expressed and enjoyed in a nice glass, right? You want to have a nice tulip glass. You want to be able to get your nose in there and really smell and taste the differences. And also the differences from sip to sip, because this beer will evolve and change. The other great thing about this brewery, and they're doing some cans and stuff now, but when you go and you pick up these 330 ml bottles or the 750s, they're bottle conditioned, so they're going to age really well. 2 or 3 years standing on their head, developing flavors in the bottle. You also get that great carbonation. And the mouthfeel of a beer like this is really, really important. It adds to the sensory perception, and it changes the experience. If you have this beer on draft, sometimes, well, when they put the beer on draft, they actually do have higher carbonation levels, but a lot of American draft lines especially are not set up to take that kind of carbonation. So you might get a flatter beer if you get a St. Bernardus Tripel or any triple at a bar that really isn't what the people intended when they made the beer, because that high carbonation volume, that champagne style mouthfeel is really important. So going into the food and beer pairings with a beer like this, triples go really well with spicy foods, in my opinion. And I'm not talking about heat spice. I'm talking about things like Indian food, Thai food that are using a lot of spices because the phenolic nature that is kind of in that beer, whether it's being really, really expressed through the fermentation protocol, or they're featuring more the ester profile, you're still going to really enhance those spices that are underlying inside of a dish. But this week, one of the things that I thought of when I first was sipping this is that I had some mutton snapper on a barbecue. A friend of ours went out and caught this fish. We grilled it on the barbecue. He grilled it on the barbecue with a lot of butter and garlic, and I think it would have gone really well together. That was a rich fish with those rich flavors of butter and garlic. This at 8% alcohol with its high carbonation level can really hold up to that kind of dish with the richness of kind of like the sauce that was created. But the mutton snapper is not like a big fatty fish, so you need something to be delicate enough to not overwhelm the fish. And this is kind of the perfect beer for that, because it's got big flavors, but it's delicate and nuanced enough so it's not going to dominate everything that you pair with it. And that's why it's such a great food and beer pairing beer. I used to always say my triple and my portfolio for beer dinners with my Swiss Army knife. I can put it into a dessert. I can put it into Thai food. I can put it into so many different places. It's going to go really well. So if you're going and trying beer and trying some foods with different kinds of beer, triple's a really, really good starting point to see how it can kind of pair with a lot of different things. Obviously, we love St. Bernardus. You can't go wrong with anything that St. Bernardus produces, because it's just classic beers made extremely well for decades and decades, and that's absolutely wonderful. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Please continue to have your suggestions rolling in. This is a beer that we haven't done yet in over 3 years, and you best believe that we have had recommendations to do this beer. It's always kind of been on my list, but when someone kind of recommends it, it shoots it up to the top of the list. I think about it. I pick it up the next time I'm at the store. So I'd love to see your suggestions on what you're drinking for Old Favorite Friday. Please poke around the channel, watch other videos about other incredible classic beers that we absolutely love and we want to feature and we want people to be thinking about and talking about. And we'll see you next week. Cheers.